The U.S. is on the verge of rolling out a COVID-19 vaccine as the number of daily infections shattered records this week. But as the Food and Drug Administration prepares to approve Pfizer's inoculation for emergency use, there are reports that the White House ordered the agency's head to authorize it today or to resign. FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn later played that down, calling it an untrue representation of a phone call he had with White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. In other developments, New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo again suspended indoor dining in New York City, beginning on Monday.
In New York City, you put the CDC caution on indoor dining together with the rate of transmission and the density and the crowding. That is a bad situation. The hospitalizations have continued to increase in New York City. We said that we would watch it. If the hospital rate didn't stabilize, we would close indoor dining. It has not.
We'll have more on the vaccination effort later in the program. The U.S. Senate approved a sweeping defense funding bill today. It's worth $740 billion and includes a 3% military pay raise. The bill received enough support to override the president's veto threat over liability shields for social media companies. Soon after, Senate lawmakers also passed a one-week extension of government funding in order to avoid a shutdown. That will buy them more time to negotiate COVID-19 relief. We'll have more on all this after the news summary. President-elect Joe Biden introduced 5 more of his cabinet picks today and emphasized their diversity. In Wilmington, Delaware, Ohio Congresswoman Marcia Fudge pledged to curb racial inequity at the Department of Housing and Urban Development. She would be only the second Black woman to lead the agency.
The crisis of injustice that has forced communities of color to make it in America with one dream tied behind their back. Each crisis chips away at their hope, at the promise of our nation. But I believe that hope is on the way.
Former Obama National Security Advisor Susan Rice pledged to expand opportunity as head of the president's Domestic Policy Council. She noted her own family's history as the granddaughter of Jamaican immigrants and a descendant of enslaved people.
For far too many, the American dream has become an empty promise, a cruel mockery of lives held back by barriers, new and old. That is not good enough for any American.
Meanwhile, President Trump held no public events today, but he continued to dispute the election results on Twitter without evidence. The Trump administration today is set to carry out the second federal execution this week. Louisiana truck driver Alfred Bourgeois will be put to death for abusing and killing his 2-year-old daughter in 2002. 3 more federal executions are scheduled for January before President-elect Biden takes office. European Union leaders agreed today to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 55% by the end of this decade. The European Commission president said that the deal will put them on a path toward climate neutrality in 2050. She spoke at their summit in Brussels.
Now that we have secured the funding, we have the means for our actions. All EU countries should benefit from the transition with economic growth, a cleaner environment and healthier citizens. The European Green Deal will be our growth strategy.
However, some environmental groups like Greenpeace have warned that emissions need to be cut by at least 65% in order to sufficiently tackle climate change. Hong Kong media tycoon and democracy activist Jimmy Lai has been charged under the city's national security law. Local media reported that Lai was charged on suspicion of colluding with foreign forces and endangering national security. If convicted, Lai could face up to life in prison. And trading was light on Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 47 points to close at 30,046. The Nasdaq fell 28 points, and the S&P 500 shed 4. Still to come on the NewsHour, Congress struggles to pass a long-awaited pandemic relief bill. COVID vaccines in the U.S. could begin as early as next week amid ever-increasing infections and deaths. Los Angeles County goes into lockdown as the pandemic surges, plus much more.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.